Guess what?
I got
I'm
lasagna
cooking up
bites.
lasagna bites today. And this is what we're going to need to make those lasagna bites. We are going to need cheese, whatever type of cheese you want, cottage cheese. So we need shredded cheese, cottage cheese, spaghetti sauce. You can use marinara or pizza sauce too. They'll work just as well. And you see ground beef peeking over there, wonton wrappers. And we're going to need fresh parsley for garnish. And this time I did use green peppers and onions and some oregano and sazon. Normally I don't use the green peppers and onions, but they're an option and you can use them. But the dish will work perfectly fine without them. And if you should decide to substitute turkey for that ground beef, yes, 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 it works. I used it, so I know. So, okay. Those are vegan wonton wrappers. Regular wonton wrappers work just fine. That's all I could find in the store, so that's what I got. So just remember, whatever cheese you use for your spaghetti, your lasagna, that's the type of cheese you use in here. So you can use any type of cheese you want to use. So the seasonings over there, they're mainly for the meat, but I do season the sauce too. So be careful about that. But if you don't season the sauce, I'm telling you right now, it works fine without it. So you don't have to worry about that. It's not going to make or break the dish if you don't season the sauce. All right, so first of all, if you hear music playing in the background, I don't own the copyrights to it, so if you hear it, then that's just fine. Now, the first thing we want to do, we want to get a pan on here, and we want to get our meat into the pan and get that meat seasoned, because that is one of the main ingredients of the dish. So we want to get that done. Now, as I said, you can use any kind of meat you want to use. I'm using ground beef today. I usually use ground turkey, but today is ground beef. So whatever's clever, baby, whatever clever. So, all right, we want to get some seasonings put on this meat. Mm-mm. All right, sizzle, sizzle. Yes, yes, yes. So now you do want to work this meat when it's in the pan. So after you get it seasoned, so you get these veggies in and you get it seasoned, you do want to get it to where it's at a crumbly texture. You don't want big pieces in. The reason why, because it's going into those wonton wrappers, which will be down in a muffin pan. So that, think of the size of a cupcake. And that's what we'll be dealing with. So you don't want big chunks of meat, and wouldn't quite work well in this recipe. So careful with that. You want to make sure you break all of your big chunks up while you're cooking. So you can use any kind of seasonings you want to use, whatever seasonings you normally season your meat with, or either you can use the ones that I used. So I used that La Preferita Sazon, onion powder, garlic powder. You can use oregano or Italian seasoning, or you can skip those altogether. So it's kind of a versatile little dish. It's a little appetizer I love, but it's kind of versatile. It doesn't take a lot of ingredients to make it taste good. And that's something I found out early on. I've been making these for quite a few years now. So putting some crushed red pepper in there for heat, but that's one ingredient I don't list because that's optional. If you want yours spicy, then do that. If you want a little kick to it. So I put the same things in that I normally put in when I make spaghetti, and I normally put in crushed red pepper. So you can leave that out unless you want yours to be a little spicy, as I said. So all right, let's get going with that. You see, you want to break it up. Yes, you want to break it up, get it to a nice crumbly texture. This is a really quick dish, so it's not one that's going to be very, very time consuming. So this is good for a snack. It's good for party appetizers. So it works. And it's good if you just want something. It's a rainy day or a snowy day and you just want something with a glass of wine. This is a great little snack to make to have with it. And they're quick. So quick and easy. So long as you chop your veggies up and have your meat ready, you're good to go. I'll tell you that right now. But once you eat these, you will make them again. They're so good. And I failed to mention earlier, the cottage cheese, you can substitute that with cream cheese if you don't like cottage cheese. I used cream cheese in these before. Just experimenting, it was so good. It was so good. Because I used cream cheese in my lasagna before too, so I just thought I'd try it with these little cups. And sure enough, it worked out just fine. Tastes so good. So, all right, just let that go for a bit. Let it go for a bit, and as I said, let it cook, but make sure you keep breaking this up because you want it at a crumbly texture. All right. Smells so good. But of course, how could it not smell good? With green peppers and onions in it, how could it not? You know, that's the main thing. Ooh, just make it smell so good when you're cooking. Yes, indeed. All right, patience. I'm cooking on about a medium heat too, so if you wanted to know, it's about a medium heat. I don't have it on high. I got it at a setting that'll just let it go and go ahead and cook for me. All right. Yes. Look at that. Yep. Just break it up really, really, really good. So I'm letting this cook because if you are a beginner and you're watching, I'm letting this cook because I just want you to see what happens while it's cooking. And so you have to remember too that if you use turkey, you won't have as much grease, you won't have as much fat in the pan as I do. So I definitely have to drain this when I'm done. You definitely will, or you'll have a soggy little lasagna bite on your hand, and you don't want that. You have a soggy, greasy bite, and that is not what we're looking for. All right, I'm making sure the oven is on. The oven should be at 375. Do preheat it before, so you won't have to wait around. All right. So I'm going to let this cook all the way through because I want you to see the entire cooking process for it. Because they'll stay in the oven for all of about 15 minutes. So don't be in a hurry to cook. Just take your time. You don't have to have it on high heat. Just relax. It's all going to be worth it at the end. Believe me, it's going to be worth it. Yes. Oh, baby. Baby. I'm telling you. Can I tell you something? These are about to be so good. All right, so you see our beef is browned really well. And you can see our bell peppers have turned a darker green, so they're not that light green as when we first put them in the pan. So we want to cook those down too. You don't want that taste of raw veggies. This is not one of those dishes where that's going to work well. So you do want to cook those down some, just like they're doing. You can see the onions have cooked down so well, except that one piece right there, but they've cooked down very well. That's exactly what you want. All right. I'm going to keep letting it go. Because like I said, if you're new to this, I want you to see the entire process. So we're almost at the end of this meat. So I'm going to cook it for a bit more, and then I'm going to take it off and drain it. All right, it's brown, but I wanted to give those veggies, especially those green peppers, I wanted to give those a couple of more minutes. So that's the only reason why this is still on. Because trust me, that's ready. All right. You can tell it's a quick, easy dish too. I don't have my apron on. I don't have my chef jacket or my apron on, so you know. I ran in here to make a quick snack. And you best believe my red wine is waiting on the side over there. So that's going to pair well with these. Mm-hmm. It'll pair very well. Yep. Fire off. And we're going to drain it. We'll be right back with our muffin tin and the rest of the ingredients so we can start to assemble these so that they can go in the oven. Don't forget, preheat 375 degrees. All right, we're right back. You definitely need some non-stick cooking spray before you put these wrappers down in there. So I'm going to take my time and assemble these. So if you're cooking along with me, you have time. You definitely have time. All right, now the thing with these is if you want to cut those edges and cut it into like a circle and you want to fit it down in there, you can. But I'm opting not to do that today. I'm just going to fit the wrapper down in there and that'll be just fine. So that's why I just stuck it down in there just to make sure that that's what I wanted to do today. So generously spray each one of these cups with that spray because you don't want your lasagna bites to stick in there. That's a disaster. So spray it well. And then we're going to fit one wonton wrapper down into each cup. It's not necessary to double the wrappers. So just in case you're wondering, it is not necessary. They're thick enough, they will hold up. All right. Get them down in there. Make sure you fit the bottom of it down into the shape of that tin. So that round part at the bottom, make sure you fit those. You can see I have both of my fingers working on each side of it, trying to fit it down in there. So I have that little cup shape. When I take them out, they'll sit on a plate or a platter. Okay. So you want to take your time and do each and every one like that. Don't be in a hurry. Just take your time and fit it in there. There's no wrong way to do it, that's for sure. Unless you leave it halfway sticking up, honey, and you don't want to do that. Mm-hmm. And there's a certain order that we're going to layer the ingredients. So no matter what type of meat you decided to use, there's a certain order we're going to go in. And there's a reason for that. Because if you put that meat at the bottom, you're going to have a soggy bite, and you don't want that. I have a really soggy dish or a greasy dish at the bottom. You don't want to do that. So it's going to go in this order. So I'm going to go all three cheeses, meat, and then pasta sauce, and then it's going to be cheese on the top of it again. But if you make your layers thin enough, then you can do it twice. So if you put a little cheese, a little meat, a little pasta sauce, then you put a little cheese, a little meat, a little pasta sauce, then you can top with the cheese again. So if you want to kind of make alternating double layers in there, you can. I've done that before too. Yes, it works. But this time I'm only going to put one layer of each before I put the cheese, the topping on it. Right, so what I'm doing right now is I'm trying to get everything ready so that all I have to do is start putting everything in. And so when I say cheese, I mean the shredded cheese and the cottage cheese, or the cream cheese if that's what you choose. Today I'm going to use cottage cheese though. hmm And it doesn't matter if it's small curd or large curd. It doesn't matter about that either. This recipe will work with either one of those. So the only thing you'll necessarily need a spoon for here is that cottage cheese. So you see, I'm only going to do one layer of each, so I put a good layer of cheese at the bottom. Yes, that's going to bake really well. You'll see when they come out though. So you can use any type of cheese, any type of shredded cheese you want. So if it's something you would put in a lasagna or on top of your spaghetti, by all means, use that kind here. So you don't have to use the same kinds that I'm using. And you can switch up the cheese too. So you can use half of one kind or a third of one kind and then two other kinds, or half of one kind and another kind. So you can kind of mix it up. It's good for that too, especially if they're party appetizers, or if you have people in the house that are picky about the kinds of cheese you use or the kinds of cheese they like to eat. So I just put all mozzarella in the bottom, but you could have just as easily put a cheddar or some other kind down there. All right, so you want to get all the cheese in here, and that includes the cottage cheese. All right, so it'd be really hard to list amounts for this, but I'm going to list this at the bottom, and then I'm going to try to put measurements too. So I'm going to put it down in the description box. But if you watch the video, then you can kind of eyeball it and you can see how it needs to be done. It's not hard. It's a little easy appetizer, a little easy snack. That's what I like about it. It's easy, but it's tasty. Mm-hmm. All right. Mm-hmm. All right, that's it. So you can put as much or as little cottage cheese as you want. So if you're a cottage cheese lover, you can put a little more than I did. You can spread it all the way across. All right, that's the third cheese. So it's the Parmesan cheese. It's the third cheese you want to put in there. So 3 cheeses at the bottom. There's 2 shredded cheeses and that cottage cheese. So when I say layer in this order, all 3 cheeses, that's what I mean. The 2 shredded and the cottage cheese. All right, so you're going to get this meat in, this cheese in, and then the meat is going to be next. Excuse me. All right, so try to keep everything down in the cups. You don't want the cheese to be on top of the pan. While you're doing this, so those little pieces I dropped, I'll take those off. Mm-hmm. All right. So you can do the meat with a spoon, or you can take your fingertips and actually grab some and drop it down in there. And that's why I said it's hard to say a measurement on this, because you can put about a tablespoon in there, but you can actually put more meat in there if you like, more or less. So it just depends. And if you're not a meat eater, you can leave the meat out altogether. You can just put all cheese and sauce in there, and that works too. Because when I have parties, I try to make something for everybody. So I try to make sure if I have vegetarians to come, then I have something for them to eat too. So I have people I know that's pescatarians, vegans. So sometimes I have to do a little digging around for recipes for them to make sure that it's something that they will actually eat, especially vegans. I'm a meat eater, so that one's tough for me, but I always manage to come up with something great. So, all right, so you can see the cheese, after you put the meat in there. So that's why I'm saying if you want to put some more meat, it's perfectly okay. If you just want to cover that whole layer with meat, you could. That's fine. Now, this amount works for me. This is good. You'll still get meat in every bite. So you want to make sure this is no more than a 2-bite appetizer, though. You'll bite half and then the other half. So don't forget, put a little salt and a little oregano, black pepper in your sauce right here. But again, if you choose not to, it won't break the dish. So it won't make or break it. Because I've actually done it without it. The first time I made it, I didn't put any seasoning in the sauce. And this appetizer was still a hit. I made it for a party. So it still work. So all right. All right. Again, I must reiterate, I do not own the copyright to that music. That is a jazz radio station playing behind me, so. All right, sauce on every one of them. That's what we want to do. And again, we'll top it with cheese, whatever kind of cheese you decide you want to top it with. So I'm going to put this Mexican cheese on top of a few of them. I only had a little Mexican cheese, so then I went with the other kind over there. All right, that's good. You want to be generous with that cheese on the top too. You want to make sure this little bite is really cheesy. Same as you would do a lasagna. You know how much cheese we put on lasagna. Just make sure. That's it for the Mexican cheese. All right. And as I said, you could do that anyway. You can alternate the types of cheese that you finish it off with very easily. So there's some different things you could do with. You could stick a jalapeno down in here if you wanted spicy little cups. It's always something you can do. All right, so as I said, this is going to go into a 375-degree oven for anywhere between 15 and 18 minutes. You want to watch your dish. You don't want it to burn on the top. You don't want the tips of the wonton wrappers to burn either. So you want to, after 10 minutes, you want to start watching your dish very carefully. I'm going to show you what it looks like when it comes out. I'm going to show you how to get them out as well. All right, this is what they look like when they come out. Look at that, look at that. That's why I said be generous with the cheese on the top. That looks delicious. Yes. And so at this point, you want to get a tablespoon, because if you run a tablespoon around the edges, it should loosen it just fine for you. So you can leave them, you can loosen them up and leave them in here for about 5 or 6 minutes. Or you can loosen them up and take them out right away. All right, so that's what you get. You get a nice little cup that you're able to pick up. So it's going to get a little firmer as it cools off. It's going to get a little firmer, so it looks coming out of here like, you won't be able to pick it up by hand, but actually you will perfectly too. So I'm going to get a few of them out. And then, as I said, you can put different garnish on it at the end too. Even though this is lasagna bites, you can put some fresh parsley or some dried parsley on it. You can put sour cream on the top of it. I did that too, and that tastes so good. Yes, it does. You can put sour cream on the top, and that is delicious. So if you want to decorate them and make them look pretty, then you can pipe some sour cream on the top after they cool off for, like I said, like 5 or 6 minutes. You're going to pipe sour cream on the top, and Got a pretty little delicious appetizer will be coming out. So if you have a party, you can put these on a tray. I'm putting them on a plate right now. But if you're having a party, you can just put these on a tray, garnish them, and you can walk around and pass them out. Or sit them on the table and just let people help themselves. Trust me, they won't last that long either, so they're never going to get cold. They're really good. All it takes is one person to get one anyway. They're really good. They're never going to get cold. Everybody's always going to come for them, and everybody's always going to want more than one. Believe me when I tell you that. All right, this is a quick, easy dish. Can I tell you that? Yes, darling. Quick and easy. And here we have it. Lasagna bites. Garnish it and start eating, honey. Enjoy. Appreciate y'all spending this time with me. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button, subscribe, share, and by all means, leave a comment. Thanks for watching. See y'all next time. Bye.